Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Well, you know what, Snape? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Alright, so hey guys, this is a review that I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's for one of the best action movies ever made, and one of my personal favorite movies of all time, and that movie is Die Hard. But I'm just thinking, what the hell can I say about it? Like, what the hell can I say about this movie? I mean, everybody acknowledges it's such a masterpiece, there's really no point in going on. But you know what? You don't need a point, so let's do this. For the three of you that don't know the plot to Die Hard, I have much pity for you. But here's the gist. New York cop John McClane is on his way to LA to see his wife, who hasn't seen for a couple months, and their marriage is a little bit on the rocks, but he wants to patch things up, so he goes to her office building that just so happens to be holding their annual Christmas Eve party. Little did anybody know that 12 terrorists would take over the building, round up all the hostages, except one. John McClane manages to get away, and now he's the only one who can stop the terrorists and be a badass. Oh yeah. Now, seriously, what am I supposed to say? Die Hard is one of the most perfect movies ever made. Drama, comedy, anyways, it's one of the most perfect films of all time. It's just one of those movies that everybody has seen and everybody just loves. But here's the thing, it took me a long time to see this movie. I know, it's just kind of one of those films that, you know, you really want to see, but for some reason it takes you a really long time to see. This is kind of what happened between me and Die Hard. Some might say I was late to the party. Welcome to the party, pal! Shut up! Yes, that was my shitty Bruce Willis impression. Look forward to more of it, I'm sure. So anyways, I was kind of going in with the mentality, oh come on, action classic, let's see what you got. But it turns out that the movie knocked me on my ass and is now one of my personal favorites, and it's just utter perfection action-wise throughout the whole thing. The director of this movie, John McTiernan, is one that I've always wished made more movies. I mean, he made The Hunt for Red October, pretty good movie that I like. He made Die Hard 3, my favorite Die Hard sequel, and I think everybody's. And what's that little low-budget movie called Predator? That's right, Predator. Obviously an excellent action director, and I really do wish he made more movies, because he's obviously has his shit together and knows what he's doing. But Die Hard is definitely his masterpiece. He holds it together so well, he paces the movie so well. It just feels so well directed for this action movie. It feels like he really put his time and soul into this movie, and had so much passion for this project, which is something I feel like is a little lacking in movies nowadays. I mean, Die Hard was just so innovative for a time. I mean, it was one of the first to use this plot that everybody uses now, because it's such a good idea and lends itself to a lot of great action moments. But Die Hard was one of the first, and it's still one of the finest examples. I mean, it's exhausting to watch. You feel like you're running around, you feel like you're in the movie, and it takes it out of you, but you love going back and you love doing it every time. Let's talk about the acting. Oh god, the acting. Where do I begin? Now, my dad's a big fan of Bruce Willis, so I've always grown up with him, and I really do like him. He's actually one of my favorite actors, not particularly in level of skill, but more of just general likability. But even though lately he hasn't been in the best films, he'll always be one of my favorite actors. But Die Hard is his best movie for sure. I mean, he owns that character. He owns John McClane, and he just runs with it and has such a fun time. John McClane is one of the best hero characters ever created. He's personally one of my favorites. I mean, this guy's so likable, and Bruce Willis just makes it work so well, and something I could say for the whole movie, it just works so well. And one thing a lot of people like to praise about the movie is that the fact that John McClane is a human, he's real. You feel like you could be this guy. You probably couldn't, but you feel like you could. He gets his ass kicked throughout the entire film. He's walking on glass without shoes. I mean, he's jumping off things, he's getting punched in the face. It's such intense suspense, and it just works so well because he's real. You feel like this is realistic, and you feel like this is happening, and it just pulls together everything just so well. And Bruce Willis, I think, just does a great job in this movie. I mean, he does the action scenes phenomenally well. And I mean, I don't know if he did his own stunts, but it certainly looks like it, because it just looks so real and just so well done. But also, he's really good in the quiet scenes. I mean, the dialogue scenes, he really packs a punch emotion-wise. Well, I won't say pack a punch, but the motion is there, and he really carries it well. And I think he's just a great actor all around. I mean, he can just pull off all spectrums of acting. And now's a good time to mention the humor. Bruce Willis delivers some of the funniest lines of action history. I mean, Yeah, it's just so funny. It's so quotable. I mean, how many famous lines do we still quote today, people? I mean, honestly. Of course, there's the most famous line of yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Now, the funny thing about the line, yes, let's call it the line, is that usually people like to scream it like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. But in reality, Hans calls him a cowboy, and McClane has to react appropriately. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Ugh, so awesome. But as great as Bruce Willis is in this movie, he's pretty much matched by the villain, Hans Gruber, played by Alan Rickman. Good God, is he one of the best. I mean, he is flat out one of the best villains in cinema history. I mean, it's just, it flat out is. I mean, it's a fact, basically, almost. I mean, he comes in with the monotone voice, you know, it's like, oh, is this guy gonna be like a boring, you know, lame-ass villain? But no, it turns out he's a fantastic character, so well written and so well realized by Alan Rickman. I mean, it's just so cool. He's just so awesome. He's so awesome, in fact, that you're almost rooting for him instead of John McClane, which is crazy considering how much you love John McClane. And no, I won't do an Alan Rickman impression because you might have noticed my impression sucks. Alan Rickman just has a presence and he feels so fun, yet at the same time he feels maniacal and he feels so evil, but yet he doesn't approach the villain role as the villain role. He treats him more of like a businessman than an actual terrorist, which I really, really like about the movie. And I think the dialogue on the walkie-talkie is actually some of the best ever. I mean, they really don't meet up till the end. So most of the interaction is over the walkie-talkies, and you might think that's a little boring, but I just think it's some of the best dialogue. I just think it's some of the best. I don't know what it is about it, but the hero-villain relationship in that film, even though they're not physically interacting that much, is just so well done, and actually one of the best ever, I think, at least. And the thing about this movie is that the bad guys come in pretty soon. I mean, we're talking like 20 minutes here, so you don't really get much time to get introduced to the characters. But one of the best things about this movie is how well written the script is. I mean, the dialogue is just fantastic, and as I've said, the story is paced beautifully. So even though you're introduced to the villains very early, you're already so invested to the characters. I mean, you just love these guys and you barely know anything about them. And as you learn more about them, and you just love these characters so much, even the villains you really, really like. I mean, Hans Gruber, as I said, is one of the best villains of all time and one of the most likable, even though he is so evil. And the writing is just so well done. I mean, every scene is totally classic. The lines are totally classic, as I've said. I mean, the writing is just so well done in this movie. And what else can I say about the writing is just so engrossing, and you just get into it so much. And I love it. Yeah, I kind of like this movie, actually. I also have to mention the action scenes. This is some of the best ever. I know I keep saying that, but this really is some of the best action. And certainly some of my favorite action set pieces. I mean, like, jumping off the building with the fire hose attached to your waist, running across the glass without the shoes on. I mean, these are just such good ideas, and they're foreshadowed well, and I mean, just so cool. They're just so cool, especially since the fact that there's not any CG in this movie. But it looks so realistic. When people get shot, it looks so good. Like, shots of people getting shot in the leg. Shots of shots. That's funny. I should probably edit that, but I'm not going to. Anyways, it looks realistic when people get shot. I mean, blood, guts squirting everywhere, bone. Why? I don't even know. Like, it's the 80s. Why did they put so much effort into this? And I just love them for that. I love it when you can just tell the effort every member of the crew put into the movie. The action is brutal. The fight scenes, oh god, like they're not like kung fu fight scenes. They are just so realistic, like so simple, but like throwing people downstairs, punches, kicks to the face. God, I mean, it's just so well done in this movie. If you want to learn how to do a fight scene, realistically, of course. I mean, I love like kung fu action scenes, but if you want to do a realistic fight scene, but still kind of have a fun twist on it, look at Die Hard. You'll get your answers there. Overall, what the hell can I say about this movie that hasn't been said? I mean, when you clicked on this review, you knew I was going to say it's one of the best movies ever made. And Die Hard is one of the best movies ever made. So in the end, you probably expected it. But Die Hard just so happens to be a 10 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed my review of Die Hard, and if you haven't seen the movie, what the hell? But going in, know that it's more than an action movie. Girls will enjoy it, I'm sure, and guys, really gets a testosterone pump. Wow, that was more of a Sylvester Stallone impression than a Bruce Willis impression. What the hell are you gonna do? Die Hard! But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. And if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go order a pizza.